Hello and welcome to Loot Level Chat, the video game podcast from lootlevelchill.com. This is episode 14. My name's Adam Cook and I'm here with Mick Fraser and Lyle Fendel. How are you? All right?
Hey.
Wow, Mick didn't even let me ask him how he was. He was just like straight on top of me then.
He's so ready to talk about video games. He just
I'm fucking
loves
wonderful, that's why. It's Thursday. I love it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I know. I mean, it's the F-bomb within a minute of video on YouTube, so that's... I can't be bothered to beep it, mate. I'm not going to lie to you. It's just staying in.
Just edit this whole thing and go from now.
Maybe you just do like a 60-minute long, just like beep, and like it was unbroadcastable. But we wanted to put something out. We hope, by the way, before we do get into it this week, not going to do any news this week. We want to get into some games we've been playing and then get back to the question of the week stuff. We hope you enjoyed last week's episode. That was like a slice of Patreon. If you listened last week, episode 13 was previously exclusive to Patreons. It was like a 40-minute odd quiz. We called it the Meta Quiz. If you like that sort of thing, I'm going to plug it now and I won't keep on about it, but patreon.com/lootlevelchill. If you're watching it on the video, it is sort of above my head there-ish. It'll be in the description. If you enjoyed it, we've got other quizzes coming up. We've got some we've done already. And we also do a big, like listener correspondence type thing, which is a bonus pod as well. So if you enjoyed it, up there it is. But
it's really fun to do as well. Yes, so come and join us. We have a fucking blast. We have a fucking blast. And
you're allowed to swear now.
Yeah,
we are allowed.
Away with it now.
Do you know, the phrase "hoisted by your own petard" is a little bit relevant.
Yeah. Hey,
now,
we're not allowed to say that word though.
Fucking hell!
Sake.
Oh no,
that's it.
Step
right. Well, we'll start again.
I hope you enjoyed this exclusive Patreon-only podcast as well. No, we're going to talk about a game that Lyle and I have been very, very excited for. We have both played various builds of. You've spoken to the devs over the years. Pipistrello and the Cursed Yoyo is out on all formats. I'm pretty sure Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC. And you gave it a big old 9.5 out of 10. Not a 10. Well, not a 10.
Not a 10. It was... Of all my 9.5s this year, this was the closest to a 10, okay?
9.9.9.
Yeah.
Would you... No, here's the thing. If we did like full decimals, like, you could do like 9.7, where would it have been? Would you just go, no, it's 9.5?
I if we did full decimals, I'd never use them because I just think it's a bit bollocks.
9.6785 recurring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, because... No, I'm just going to end up ranting about places that use decimals, so I won't do that.
No, I've got enough to edit, thanks, Mick.
Yeah. But yeah, a very high 9.5,
yes,
we'll say.
Wonderful.
But I've been excited for this for ages. Have previewed it twice, interviewed the devs twice. Like, it's been a game that feels like it's been in my life for ages now. But actually getting to play, the fully complete thing was an absolute dream. Like, it is old school Legend of Zelda with some new school sensibilities and, that top-down perspective. It's got the whole Game Boy Advance vibe of the overall game. Back in the day, it used to be sort of like played on a virtual Game Boy Advance that they've had to change so that no one would get upset.
What do you mean? No.
No.
Who would get upset about the thing that didn't look like a Game Boy Advance?
No one would. No one would ever get upset. But yeah, it's finally here, and it lived up to the hype in every way possible for me, to be honest. Like because obviously we'd seen it, having played it a couple of times, we saw enough little bits of it to know, what was going on, to know it felt really good, to know that the yo-yo combat was like clever, to see a little bit of a few of the different systems here and there. But like, we didn't know quite how many like movement abilities there were going to be that you'd be able to chain together, and that certain secrets would need different combinations of. And like, there'd be points where you'd see like, oh, yeah, I know you were collectibles man, so I'm sure you had fun with that.
Just carry on. I don't want to talk about it. that element, I want to talk about the game, just not that element.
Yeah, but like, so you'd have all these different movement abilities and how they connect, and like, so you'd go somewhere, you'd step into a room at some point, say, and when you were looking at it, you'd be like, there's no way I can get around here. Like, there's a massive gap, and then there's this, and then there's this, and all these different things.
I will just say there was one collectible, petal container, heart container, like Zelda heart container, that I reckon you find it visibly about halfway through the game. And I went back there. I captured my entire playthrough, which ended up at over 20 hours, which I don't know if you're going to look at that. Is that a lot or not compared to what you played?
Yeah, my final playtime where I didn't get everything was like 12 or 13. I think.
That's what I suspected it was, because it was one of those where it's like, I almost wanted to do a little guide for how long does it take to beat. I was like, I haven't got a clue, because at this point my time is 20 plus, and I'm like, I don't know. There's one particular collectible though, in like a, let's say, call it like almost like a in-game little resort.
Mm-hmm.
And it's there's a little barrier, I think a 2 or 3 space orange barrier. There's a little octopus enemy, and behind it is a container. And my God, I went back to that area. I reckon there's an hour of I recorded if you can put it all together, an hour of me going back to there.
Patreon exclusive.
Do you have to do like a walk the dog along each of those lanes of the swimming pool? And then I realised, no, you just use one of the special moves that I've unequipped, and it was both remarkably relieving, but at the same time I wanted to just basically stove my own head in, for want of a better. I was so angry that I didn't just go. So some of the collectibles you do have to. It's a good thing mechanically, because it means you can't really just go, I'm sticking with these moves. You do have to, if you want to do all that, you have to switch it up a little bit, as I promised I can testify to.
Yeah, you know that really well now. Yeah, but it's a game where as you progress more, you just get so much more of a selection of ways to get around, of ways to fight. The combat is like always really, really fun, in that you have like various special moves you can maybe think about using, and you can have one equipped at a time, but they all have like really good merits for how you use them. And then I think a lot of what makes the combat good is just that the enemy variety is really vast, and like the enemies are all really different. Like it's not like, oh, this one has a shield, this one like all of them are like, this one's driving a remote control car and it's really hard to get your weapon around.
Those lads can get right to fuck, by the way.
Yeah, or like there's the ones who like can just parry your attack and send your yo-yo like off its string into the fucking distance. It's like, well, great, thanks for that. Like there's just a really nice range of all these different enemies, and like you'll fight them in different sort of arenas and stuff like that. And every time it just felt great to fight them. Like then you get into boss fights and they're even better. I'd say like the final boss is an epic, over the top, ridiculous,
isn't it? My word.
Yes, it is. It's a real gauntlet. But yeah, there's it's just there's so much to it, and everything. Like not any of it disappointed me. Like I love like that you get all these different upgrades that you have to work towards, but that they also like to pay them off. You have these little negative effects, and that's my one little.
Because that's the thing is, I don't want to be the one who comes in and goes, right, so Lyle said that, and here's my negatives, because I totally agree with your review. But that's kind of the trouble, is that I literally. Your negatives are the same. Like I think some of them.
Yeah.
So as you sort of explained or started to explain, my bad. Is like when you equip these upgrades, because I actually forgot you mentioned it in your review that whichever of the characters it is in your hideout is a germaphobe. I totally forgot that as a thing.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why you can't just go, I've got 2,000 cash, I'll just pay you. No, I'm a germaphobe. I can't. So it has to be new money that you've earned, and 50% of it goes to the debt. To your and that's one thing, and that's that bit I don't mind too much. But every one of them has a negative effect until you clear your debt, like losing health points, losing badge points, losing attack power, and they're a bit mean.
They are a bit mean.
Too much, like, I think. Some
early on, it wasn't really that big a deal. Like early on,
I found it hard early because I kept being cut down to like 1 HP.
That's true, actually.
Or 2 HP, but I only had 3 maximum, which didn't exactly feel like a lot, you know.
Yeah, but then I suppose as well for you, as you were getting later on, you'd been collecting everything, so you probably had a few more resources to work with, you know.
Well, there's actually another thing. I don't know if you. So much I want to talk about this game without it being just a full podcast about this game. But like another thing I think interesting about it is I do like the accessibility options are pretty great. Like if you are struggling with difficulty, you can just go into it and basically you can adjust. Did you have a look in it before?
I actually didn't have a look. No, I don't think I really saw. So it's got
like about 10 different options that you can go plus or minus. So if you want to, you can just go plus 7 or whatever it is to heart, so you have the maximum 10. But you can also go like plus 10 times 10 damage. So you do times 10 damage, and then at the same time you can do the opposite. Like you can go. So the base is like damage taken is like a 1, which is like the default. If you change it to 0, you're invincible. So let me just tell you, when you are searching for collectibles, thank you, developer, for those lovely invincibility settings that I could go off completely in the game now. So I have no guilt about this. But I was going to ask you as well, like, because I was trying to basically near enough 100% it, I was curious if there's certain areas because there are some areas you just don't have to go to. If I said the phrase cancelled subway station, does that mean anything to you?
I'm not sure it does, I can't recall definitely that it does. I'm trying to think. That's a tricky one, because there are a lot of different, quite varied areas that you end up exploring in the game. So it's easy to maybe
a whole big area with shitloads of puzzles and combat arenas, and is it a spoiler? It's not a spoiler to say there is a boss fight at the end of that.
Oh wow!
And an additional boss fight that is not story based. So you can see the reward, because at the end you can sort of see where you want to get to, and you have to work your way around the Zelda-y dungeon. It's basically a whole dungeon. This, by the way, is what I'm getting at. There's like a BP shard and a petal container. But once you solve all the puzzles, there's like a boss room, and when that boss, I was like, oh, that's rather cool, if you know what I mean. And I was just curious, because it is completely. You do not have to go there.
There is so much like that as well. Like you can, because at towards the end of the game, when I was like, I've done so much in this game, I've really been trying to rinse areas. I was like, for the last one I went to, I was like, okay, well, I know after this it's the final boss, probably. So I'll probably do a bit less here, and I'll just be like, well, I'm excited to see, how it ends. I don't, I feel like I'm pretty much ready for it. I'll just sort of not explore that area too much.
Another one regarding the last area, and I'm not going to go into spoilers, so nobody panic. Again, I don't know if because I was like trying to get every map segment just to be absolutely sure. Before you go into that, you can kind of walk off to the left or the right. Yeah. And it goes on for a long time. Did you do that?
I think I did, yeah.
Did you get an option? Did you go all the way?
I'm not certain.
So
anymore.
Before you go into the final
secrets you've been finding,
I should have written more guides. But before you go into that final dungeon, let's say, I saw that there was you can definitely walk along the road here, and you just keep walking. Nothing happens, by the way. Just loads of each screen. There's a screen, more cars, screen, and then you get to the end of it, and it suddenly goes, "This is the route out of town. Do you want to leave town?" And I was like, "Fuck." Oh. Shit, I need to finish this game. So I was kind of like, what happens if I say yes? And I don't know, but that is a thing. I probably should have gone back. Well, I wonder if it does do that kind of, how games do, Far Cry did it. Mick, you'll remember.
Yeah, where you stand still for an hour or whatever.
The fake out ending. Now, you're quite near the end of the game anyway, but I wonder if you just get credits and it's like, sorry, end of, I'm leaving town. Sodja. Yeah, I did wonder, but I was like, I can't risk it, because I don't know there's a new game plus. I don't know you can come back to a save. For all I know, you clear the game, you see the credits, and it wipes it. I don't know, and I can't risk that at 20 hours or whatever. So I was like, that's okay. Do you see what I mean? It's so really full of stuff.
Yeah, it's full, and even on a more baseline level, it's full of stuff. You go to an area and there'll be loads of buildings you can go in that have their own little standalone puzzles. Each sort of the 4 areas has sort of 2 dungeons almost, where one's where you get what you have to do one to sort of get access to the next. So there's a police station that you'll have to go to so you can get access to the mall and stuff like that. And it feels so rich with content, and it's definitely rich with collectibles. And sometimes those collectibles as well are just money, but because of this upgrade, you always want the money pretty desperately, I
think they make the money. It's one of the few games where they make the money feel really important actually these days. When you see a brown bag of money, it's going to really knock the debt down you owe, and you're like, I am having that. And it's quite, whereas a lot of games you might see them, even in a Zelda or something, you see some rupees and you're like, it's not worth it. I've got $1 million. I don't care. You're never. I mean, I was by the end of what I was doing, but but
not everyone's going to be quite at that level.
And honestly, nor should they. The reason I did the guides is so you don't have to end up nearly ruining the game for yourself, like I did. I'm the same as you. It's absolutely delivered. It's not my absolute game of the year, but it's really high up. I loved it. I think the music's amazing, the artwork's amazing, the gameplay feels just stupendously good.
So good.
I agree with you on all the negatives. There aren't many, but they are enough to just keep it off that.
Those little things like the upgrades, like the fact that sometimes you'll get badges and you'll just go like, I'm not going to fucking use that.
There's quite a lot of them. I found quite a lot of badges where I'm like, I'm glad I got it. I like the fact I'm getting a new badge, but I'm not using that. Like it does that thing again, and Mick, you'll know a lot of this sort of stuff where it's like increases your damage massively, but you've got fuck all health, and you're like, no, I want my health, so I'm all right.
And they put things like that. They did a lot of stuff like that in Claire Obscure with some of the Pictos, and you were like, why have you given me that? When am I ever going to use this or choose to use this?
Yeah, it's exactly that, where it's like, it does massive damage if X and Y, and then you're like, that but, it's way too big.
It's fucking massive.
But and I really wanted to talk about it, and the reason I wanted to talk about it first on this pod is because it seems like no one's heard of it, and it's a bloody amazing game. So you'll have seen, if you watch this video, bits of the game, and there is a demo, definitely on PC. I think there's a demo on all formats now. I think. Don't quote me, but I'm sure there is a demo on PlayStation and Switch. And as Steve will tell you, he's not here, he's on holiday, but he will tell you this is a game he's looking forward to playing because it's going to feel really nice on a handheld. And I'm guessing you did on...
Yeah, I played it all on Steam Deck.
So I was PS5.
It was bloody lovely there.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful game. So please have a go on the demo. This isn't sponsored. We just really love it, and like.
Oh yeah, and it felt quite similar as well. The last game, Pocket Trap, Dodgeball Academia. It felt like not a million people said. Yeah, it felt like I was one of the people saying, "This is really fucking good. I love this."
It was on my list of I want to so badly, and I still would love to, but it is. We all have them. The ones that get away. And that was one of them. I even saw on Reddit, actually, a lot of people saying similar, like, I love this studio's last game, so I'm not missing this.
100%. That's what they are to me now. They're a studio who've now hit, like, tippity top twice in a row. So I'm like, I will never ignore what they're doing next,
That's a lovely feeling. And also, just before I forget, I should be up by the time you watch or listen to this. We have a competition for a special edition of the game that's going to be running on the site, where you get like the big plushie that I've had to essentially take delivery on and give to my wife and say, please put that in a cupboard where I don't know where it is until the day it has to be posted out to someone. So if you're in the UK, do enter that if it's still running when you listen to that, time, etc. Let's move on to another game, right? And then I think there's a bit of a theme. The theme's going to fall apart towards the end, but there is a bit of a theme running here, Mick, in that I think these are games a lot of people haven't heard of.
Yeah,
and you and I hadn't really heard of this massively. We'd seen a trailer, Eriksholm: The Stolen Dream. Now we can only talk in a preview sense. I've only played a few levels.
There's a demo which is like the first. I think it's like the first 2 levels, and then like the 5th level for some reason. So it skips some story, but it was a game that I think you showed me the trailer, and the trailer was like an instant holy shit. Because this is like
Claire Obscure in terms of the visuals. I think you're like, what?
So it's like a top-down stealth game. It kind of reminded me an awful lot of the Me games, like what was the one we did?
Don't do this to me.
Shadow Gambit, and
Shadow Gambit,
Blades of the Shogun. Like that, Desperados. So like that. It reminds. It's kind of like. It's nothing like that, but it looks a bit like that, right? It's got the same top-down kind of stealth. Basically, you're kind of just avoiding sort of patrolling guards, and it's set in this. So it's set in a city called, and I've got to remember that. It's a couple of weeks ago that I played the demo. So the city's Eriksholm. That's what the city is.
Yes.
And it takes place in like a fictional sort of, like a Victorian European city
it
country
makes me think of like almost a French version of Peaky Blinders era.
Yeah, it's like that. So the country's called Rossmark, and it reminds me a lot. The world reminds me a lot of like Dishonored. It's that kind of, the police are like fascist police, and like the common people have got no rights, and they sort of all live in squalor. And there was a disease that went around, which was like, I can't remember what the
Heart. No, it's heart something. It's heart.
Yeah, heart. I can't remember now. But
I just want to say heartburn, and it's not heartburn.
It's like the heart rot or heart waste or something like that. But it's this disease that went around, and it's not one of those things where this disease is like a supernatural thing that kills everybody or turns them into zombies or anything like that. Because the main character, had it and she's okay now, and like other people have had it. But like the main character is a young girl called Hannah, and all you find out at the beginning is her brother, like she and her brother are like orphans. They do what they can to survive. They do odd jobs. They try and stay on the right side of the law, but she obviously has ties to like the local thieves. And it's a bit of an Oliver type thing where like you've got these little scamp thieves, and they all work for a woman called Alva, who's actually another playable character in the later mission in the demo. And her brother has gone missing. He goes to work in the mines nearby and he doesn't come back. And then the next morning, the police come round and sort of like come in and they want to take Hannah for questioning. And being a sneaky thief and knowing the back streets and stuff, she sort of says, let me go and get my things, goes out the back, and then she sneaks off, and then you take over. And so you're just there. All the police are looking for Hannah and you're trying to guide her. There's no combat from what I've seen. You do get... So Hannah is given by Alva a blowpipe with sleep darts. And she says at the beginning, when she gives you the blowpipe, you find out that there are also lethal darts, but you don't get them. So I don't know if they're in the game, but they exist in the world because she discusses them. So, but you've got this blowpipe. And so basically there's no vision cones, which I really liked, because vision cones always kind of really... It was the one thing about games like that Me did that never really made much sense, because you'd have a vision cone and you could stand right in plain view of a guard, but as long as you were outside the vision cone, they would just ignore you. And it never really made an awful lot of sense. So in Eriksholm, if they get line of sight on you, if you're across the screen or across the whatever, they've got line of sight on you, they will see you. The further away you are, the longer you get. You get a little red line that goes along this line, like a white line leads, like a dotted line leads from the guard to you, and it sort of fills up red as they're seeing you. So you've got time based on distance to get away. And it's really smooth for a start. Like, it's a sort of game where all they can really put in these games is collectibles, which is fine because it gives you a reason to sort of go off the beaten path. The collectibles are all lore. Like, they put a lot, the developers, and again, I've drawn a blank on the developer, but I need to look that up, I think, because it's only fair, because they do deserve the credit. But they've put in a lot of lore, a lot of work into the background stuff. So if you find
River End Games, Mick. River End Games, published by Nord Current Labs.
Yeah, and they put a lot of lore into the collectibles. So generally speaking, if you do go out of your way to find these collectibles, you get the reward of that. You get a little bit of world building, and they've got a lot of history in this world they've created. What I don't know, and what nobody knows, is what the actual story is yet. We don't know what the brother's done. We don't know where he's been, why he's been taken. It's very intriguing because it's kind of got it's almost got a Plague Tale Innocence feel to elements of it, where it could very easily veer into the supernatural, very easily. I mean, it's called The Stolen Dream, which hints at that, like, there may be something beyond, what you see. But we don't know. But like we said at the beginning of this, when we first started talking about it, the cutscenes in this game, like, this is a studio that ridiculous. I think I'm not sure if this is their debut game, but I think it is. As far as
I can tell, it is. Same with, like, say, the comparison to Claire Obscure, totally different games, but like,
I think this is on a level higher than that with the lip syncing and the performance capture, because Claire Obscure, I remember when I first started reviewing it, one of the first things I said to Adam was, Jesus Christ, this opening cutscene, like, the trailers didn't do it credit. And I'd done the same with Eriksholm. I think you sent me the trailer and said, do you want to check this out? And I watched like 30 seconds of the trailer and this can't be like a little game.
Like, this can't be it. It can't be.
A little game studio that's put this, and it's not just the motion capture or the performance, the lip syncing and the facial expressions on these characters in the cutscenes. It's Call of Duty level. Like, it really is that good. It looks insanely good. And I thought, and obviously they get away with it because when it switches to the game, Hannah's quite small on the screen, and you don't have to show that stuff. They don't have to show all these.
The environments are pretty bloody detailed. Like, you
incredibly
mentioned about the
detailed. Yeah.
And one of the only sort of negatives, again, I haven't played as much of the build as you have, but like, one of the things about the collectibles, they don't quite feel like it doesn't quite give you that dopamine hit.
No, it's
but
not.
I will say when I finished the level and didn't have them all, I was like, but then the reason I didn't have them all was because it's such a detailed world. It's like I wasn't sure. Can I actually get over there? Because it could be over there. It's quite a detailed looking game, even outside of the cutscenes.
Yeah, and it does kind of like the levels are quite intricate. Like there are times where I'd gone off the beaten path to go and get a collectible, and I'd gone a certain way, and then I'd like followed the path because it is quite the game does give you paths to follow. Like it doesn't daub yellow paint everywhere, but there are quite clear areas where you can climb or where you can like go into vents. And sometimes the vents will just take you into a room and there'll be a little puzzle to solve, or there'll be a different and the guards have pretty good patrols. A lot of the time I always find that, and 2D stealth games are very guilty of this, where the guards will, and they can only do so much on a 2D plane, but I hate in stealth games where the guard will walk a bit and then stand facing a wall. Why is the guard facing the wall? It's absolute no guard ever has been on patrol and thought, I'll stand and face this wall for 30 seconds. And they don't do that it's always wound me up. And they don't do that in Eriksholm. They do have patrols. They do walk around. They cross paths with each other. They have set patrols. If you watch them, they'll repeat because they have to kind of do that, or you'd never be able to get through the game.
I'm slightly worried you might have just broken a lot of video games to me. That
I think you've ruined gaming for
yes, but it's kind of an accepted gamification, isn't it? Where you're like, well, I've got to be able to get past, but now I think I'm going to genuinely see it in every stealth game. It's like
2D stealth games do it a lot because the guard has to look away from you.
There's nowhere else they can go. There's no
and sometimes there's nothing to look at, but you always wonder, what are you looking? And I don't mind. Some games are clever, and some games will make the guard go and look out of a window or look at a picture and comment on it. And you're like, fair enough, I've got 30 seconds. But this game doesn't do that. But yeah, later on, it cuts to so you do the first 2 levels and you escape sort of the police, and you reach Alva because you're looking for help. And Alva is like, she's an adult. She's like in her late 20s, and she's like a mistress of the thieves. It's not like a thieves guild, but she runs the thieves. She runs the streets, and she's got these little runners who go out and steal for her and get information for her. I don't have any idea what kind of a regime it is that runs Eriksholm, but you get the idea that the police are an authoritarian power.
I think the Dishonored thing is what is the vibe I get. Yeah, exactly. Very much because when you said about the Stolen Dream, I got the feeling. What I took from what I've played of it is it would be. And again, I don't know. Genuinely, I don't think it's even got a release date yet, so don't know. Really don't know. But Stolen Dream I took to be like the kind of the political sort of thing that the stolen dream of like making it
like a BioShocky thing, like
a bit, but more like the downtrodden trying to crawl out sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? The dream of if you're in poverty, or like these characters are like the downtrodden, the dream of being kicked away for sort of a revolution, I guess. The dream of revolution, maybe even.
I tell you what I really liked as well. There were moments. So there's a lot of dialogue in it. It's all voiced, and so the police are looking for you, and they've got this authority. And quite often, Hannah will be somewhere hiding, and the police will rock up and sort of move people on. Or there's a bit where the police sort of steal somebody's cigarettes, and then like they're just bullies. They're just a bunch of big bullies. They force people back into their homes and slam doors and. But there's moments where Hannah's creeping around, and she'll be creeping past the police, and somebody will be sitting out on their porch fishing or doing something like a normal person, and she'll be like, "Hello, Mrs. Beecham. Hello, Hannah. What are you doing? Oh, is this about you? Yeah, of course it's about me. Don't say anything." And it's like there's like, and this happens all the way through this area where there's like an obvious community where all the common people are in the same boat. Like it could be any one of them at any time that the police come and say, "You're coming with us for questioning," or whatever. And you got that real sense of camaraderie from these NPCs that otherwise don't have to say anything. They could just be people, they could just be screen filler. And I like it. It's really good. And like when you get to the point where you meet Alva, I don't know because Alva's pissed off with Hannah, and she gives you the blow dart and basically says, "If you go, I don't want your kind of attention, whatever." But then it jumps forward several missions, and you have Alva with you, and you're trying to break into something.
Such is the life of an elite games journalist, mate. The previous,
no idea what happens in the 3 missions or 2 missions in between.
But something did.
Yeah, but once you're with Alva, she has different abilities to Hannah. And so Alva can climb up drain pipes and she can throw stones to distract guards rather than just blow pipe them and knock them out. And what it does is, rather than when you played things like Shadow Gambit, there were often moments where the crew had these crazy outlandish powers where you could sort of teleport or you could swap places with somebody by magic, and you had all these really cool things that you could do. But generally speaking, you would move your group through the level together, right? And you would use his power to distract that guard, his power to distract that guard, and then you'd press the button to do it all together, and then you'd all get through, and you had that teamwork thing. Whereas in Mission 5 of the Stolen Dream, what I saw was you had to split up, so you couldn't both go the same way. Hannah couldn't climb the drain pipe. She had to go a different way. But then you would get around to a point where Hannah had to get past some guards, and she's like here, and there's like a load of bushes, and there's big searchlights going round. But then Alva's on the other side of like this area, and you'd have to move Hannah up, and then you would use Hannah's stone to distract the guards at the right time, switch back to Hannah when the searchlight moved, whip through, and then you would have to sort of, as Hannah, then blow dart another guard a little bit further on so that Alva could get through. So you've got this kind of synergy between the characters. There's a third character that's not in the demo, but I know they've already shown that there's going to be 3 playable characters. And I don't know what the other character's power is or ability or whatever. I'm really excited to.
That's what I was going to say. I can't remember you having played a preview build and been. I mean, it's Pipistrello. It was what Pipistrello was.
Yeah,
it's like you are. It's breathlessly excited. You know, I can't.
Oh, absolutely! I was absolutely blown away. For a demo. So some demos come out and you wonder to yourself, should you really release that like it wasn't ready, or it was like it wasn't the best foot forward? They absolutely put their best foot forward. It absolutely looks gorgeous. It already in just those few levels in the demo has hinted at, you know, a lot of intrigue, a storyline. I've no idea where that's going to go. And you know, I've got 2 characters. I don't know. Like Hannah has no blow dart at the beginning, then she gets one. Is there more abilities? Is there more things that you can unlock later? How does the other character synergize? You know, it's all outside. First you're in the town, and then in Mission 5 you're in like this you're like trying to break into this like big facility, and like that's just got me intrigued. I just want to know what more there is in this game, and like the world and the atmosphere is, like I said, it's kind of Plague Tale Innocence meets sort of Shadow Gambit meets Dishonored in this kind of really, really interesting soup that I just want to play more. So yeah, Eriksholm Stolen Dreams got me really pumped.
Now, in the last game we're going to talk about this week is I'm not going to like talk about it probably as much as these other 2 games because Chris White's not here and he reviewed it, so it's all. But I'm the only other person who's played Elden Ring Nightreign. I've played a good portion of it. It's bloody hard, I'll tell you that now. It's a really fascinating experiment, for want of a better
experiment.
Yeah, I mean it's Elden Ring, like, but it's like a. Look,
it's been received like an experiment.
Has it?
Yes, it's very divisive. Yeah.
If
I've seen 6s, and this is a FromSoft game.
Yeah, that's rare. Yeah. Well, if you know what a roguelike is, right, and think of how would you make Elden Ring into one with a bit of a dash of Fortnite, and I feel weird saying that, but the reason, and I'll get to why, it is Elden Ring.
You could be the Predator or
Ripley. Imagine
between.
if this is super successful and it becomes a full-on service game and they like start doing battle passes. Imagine how people would lose their shit. Imagine a FromSoft game having a battle pass where you can put like RoboCop mask on your head or something. Or...
You know what they would do though? They would give you Eileen the Crow skins, and they would give you. What's the Onion Knight? They'd give you that.
Yeah, praise the sun and stuff.
Sell.
Yeah, don't give him any more ideas. As you said, there's already an experiment, but it is. You know, you basically pick from one of 8 classes, and they are sort of preset builds, and there's no exclusivity in terms of, right, you've started as a hammer wielder, so you can't use a sword, you can't use a bow. You can, But what happens is basically, so your souls, I'm always going to call them souls, get angry if you want, but that's what they are. They're souls to me. I actually can't even think what they're called in Elden Ring now. But
isn't it just grace? Or
no, grace is what your points of.
I genuinely can't remember either.
Your souls. You get souls from killing enemies, killing bosses, obviously gives you more of them, and you run to a grace, and you don't rest at this grace. As you run sort of over it, or just imagine there's like an aura around it, that if you go over that, you get like your health and your flasks all refilled and everything like that, and your magic back, FP back.
It's like streamlined version.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what I'm getting to. So it's really streamlined. So then you run, if you do press X to say interact with it, all you can do is level up. Use your souls to level up, and not like, oh, I want to upgrade my health, my FP, or then I want to also upgrade the endurance. It just levels you up one, so all of it levels up, and you know if you've got enough of the currency, like you can do 3 levels. So it's completely streamlined like that, and then you might find a weapon in a drop that's like a level 4 weapon, so you can grab it, but you can't use it yet. Well, I mean, I think, or maybe you can. I mean, in the Souls games, I might be conflicting Souls games with them, you know, where you can use them, but they're not as effective.
Usually can, but yeah, they're hard to weave.
I'm trying to now think if that's the. I think that is. Don't know. I can't be sure on that, so I'm not going to say. And you get other gear as well, like you know, you can find bombs to throw and all that other stuff. And each of the classes, what I can't say for sure from what I've played is I believe they all sort of have a bit of symbiosis, where like. So, for example, the big, let's call him the tank, right? Because that's the sort of nomenclature. We all know what a tank is in a game. Tank's at the back, as we know. So, tank, his special is like he smashes into the ground and a big pillar comes out of it. The special fills up over time, like as a big bar, and it fills up over time. He smashes it in, and a big like concrete like brick sort of pillar comes out of the ground, and you're on it. And what that then means is, say the person who's playing as, I guess it would be a sniper class, bow and arrow wielder. I think it's called Seeker. Could go up on that while it's there. Yeah, obviously they're at the front with the mages, but they can go up on top of the pillar and like ping things down, and they're safe because they're up high on the top of a pillar that you've used as your ultimate, and that sort of thing varies. And each of the characters have got, I think, a different skill ceiling. Like the recluse, which is, I guess, the mage user. I think it's quite a high ceiling in terms of like that will be the one that really good players are using the recluse, and they are like, oh my god, we've got a recluse, yes, awesome, we're going to do this, we're going to make this run. So you get about, I think it's about 10 minutes to run around this world of Elden Ring, of Limgrave, or whatever it's called, or Limveld.
Limveld, isn't it?
Thank you. That
Limveld, something like
and
that.
You run, and it is very much that kind of. Oh, what's that there? Oh, what's that there? You know, you like that sort of squirrel thing where you see something and you like go to it, explore it, and it's exciting. And more often than not, here there's a boss. Like there's loads of mini bosses, and the mini bosses when you're playing with a 3-piece, they're not like horrific. They're actually totally manageable. Like this, it's not often in any of the matches we played that I've been a part of that we died to a mini boss. There's still a, you know, it's a FromSoft thing. It's a boss. It's got a health bar, usual thing, and then you get the drops at the end of it. Eventually, Lyle, here comes the fortnight, this massive blue ring draws you in, and it forces you to a location. Now that thing's always present, and over the sort of 10 minutes or so it closes in, then it closes in a bit more, and it closes in until it forces you to like it always seems to be similar area. Like there's the first day, it's like a big swampy area where you'll get some slightly stronger enemies, not bosses, but stronger enemies, before you then get the boss of that day. And it will be one of, I don't know how many, but there.
I think I read there's 8 different main.
No, so
bosses.
I'll get to that. These are the end of day bosses. You're talking about, I think they're called like the Night Lords, like they're the proper bosses. So you do that, and then you do it again on day 2. And then if you finish day 2, you get day 3, where you take on whichever of them proper bosses, and they are fucking nails. Like I haven't defeated one yet, I'm not ashamed to say. The one I got close to defeating was a giant wolf with 3 heads that eventually splits into 3 different giant wolves, and it looked like it was, because at first I shit myself because Mick, if I say to you what's one of the hardest bosses in Elden Ring, give me a couple of names.
I thought Malekith was tough.
What if I said to you, and the location is very memorable in that it's kind of away from everywhere else as well, like begins with R, on a beach, sort of deserty thing.
Oh, Redan.
Mm-hmm. So you go in a door and you're like in that area, and I was like, oh, you are kidding me. It wasn't him, thankfully. It may as well have been, because I'd have just been a shit if it was.
It took me so long to defeat.
Yeah. But throughout the days leading up to it, if you do die to a boss, you lose a level. And you can go back and you can get your souls back, and you can hope, But also, you have a down state. So you don't die unless all three of you fail, or you don't get revived. Now, I remember playing the beta of this, and it was quite humorous because someone would go down and people were just running. Because in every game you've ever played, how do you get someone up? You walk over to them and you hold down a button.
Hold a button, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like, I'm thinking, this is broken. So the one thing I say about Nightreign, it's actually got quite a good tutorial for all this shit. It's actually like a proper video game tutorial, and no one can, I think, complain. There's a lot of mechanics that you still need to go online to understand, but the actual core, you're pretty much taught. So I'll tell you how you get people up. You batter them. So they're down, crawling around. You go over with whatever weapon you've got and just start hitting them, and it reduces a meter down until they get up. If you then run off because the boss is after you, it starts slowly. It's basically like bleeding out, a bit like in,
That's strange. It's
That's strange. Really odd.
And really, when I knew how to do it, thanks to the handy tutorial, certainly explained why in the beta we would just be like running around each other, going like,
it doesn't even seem to make much thematic sense. It's just very odd.
Someone to get them up. So and if you go down again, that bar is like is 2 bars, so you have to knock one, then 3, and so on. So like, it all works really well. I say I haven't played enough to be like 100% sure on what my personal verdict is. I do like it a lot. I saw some stories, but basically FromSoft was saying that they would like to, or didn't. I'm not sure if it was that they didn't realise or they hadn't got to basically making it playable 2-player. Because
they didn't put a duo mode in, and they were kicking themselves for it.
It needs options, and also like that. Oh, there'll be someone who says, "Look, I beat it solo." It's not balanced, right? It is balanced for 3-player cooperative experience.
I've heard
you can play it solo.
They might already be looking at balancing it for solo players and duos, which is likely to happen. I think in the long run.
People will moan and go, "Oh, well, I beat it solo." It's like, yeah, okay, well, you're one in about 3 million people. Well done.
I think when that will happen is if the player count starts to drop off, because the thing about a game that is only for groups of 3 is that inevitably one of the trio will find another game to do, or will get busy, or will have a kid, or will get a job, or will do something different that they can't maintain, and the player count will drop. And then when the player count drops, I think that's when they'll swoop in and said, we've tweaked the bosses for duos, we've tweaked the boss, because the thing about them not having a solo mode is that.
Well, no, there is. You can play it solo, but it's not balanced for solo.
And the thing about that is that, like you said, there will be people who come in
and they do complete it with a Guitar Hero controller.
Yeah, they're going to do the game solo, and then they're going to say, "We don't need a fucking solo mode. You just need to get good," which is absolute nonsense because we're not all 1% elite players.
Yeah.
But I think this is what's kind of put me off. I mean, I played the hell out of Elden Ring. As you know, I reviewed it back in the day. And in a different life, I reviewed Elden Ring. I did 140-something hours altogether.
I platinumed it myself as well. I love that game. Love it to bits.
And I never did platinum it because I didn't do the ending thing, which really kicked myself because I didn't want to have to go through it all again. Yeah. I did do some of the new game plus. I didn't get Shadow of the Erdtree mainly because I was so far away from Moog and everything again to unlock it. And I was having a bit of Souls game fatigue, so I never went back to do Shadow of the Erdtree. I love Elden Ring; it's one of my favourite games of the generation by far. Absolutely amazing. But I'm not a big multiplayer fan,
and this is the thing, right? This is what I want to say to you specifically, because I know, Lyle, it's not hugely one on your radar.
It's not for me, is it? I mean, you tried to make it appeal to me with Fortnite, but I don't think it's got as much.
Hang on, right? So this does actually this leads into actually the point I was going to make. So this does work. Would you? Because I think I know the answer for Mick here. Would you be able to guarantee a group of 3, you plus 2, that would be able to play this on a regular basis together?
For this game specifically,
I mean, but Well, yeah, I suppose that is another challenge, but yeah.
Because I played trios in Fortnite almost every night of my life, but
Okay.
there's not a chance that the people I play trios in Fortnite with would play a game like this.
So,
No.
See,
and I know
same as
Mick's
me.
answer. Your answer's no to that, isn't it?
I mean,
that sounds silly because there's like there's us three.
I know, yeah.
But it's not going to happen. Times don't allow. We all play games differently.
I play Monster Hunter Wilds and I play Diablo and I play Destiny with other people, but they're strangers and I don't need to communicate because I know what I'm doing enough with those games.
So that's one of the problems. Like you do need to. I think you do need to communicate purely because the way the game.
Because I'm not a social. I'm not a social gamer. It's not what I play for.
But I am in terms of playing with you guys, my friends.
If I knew I could play with you and maybe
if we all
one
played
other
every
who's
night
no
at
longer
10
with us, sadly, then I would probably. I would play more with you and
if
that
we
guy
all
who's
played at the same time every night. Like if we don't, that's just the simple truth of it. We don't play at the same times. We have similar tastes.
Very
and we
weird
do play.
gaming hours. Yeah.
So do I though, and I know Lyle does too, and I think Steve's the same, and Chris definitely is because they'll sometimes play like 2 a.m. or something. But like that's the problem. So that Chris and I were in a party chat, as you know, we're playing it, and we're just chatting about well, what's that? Well, that looks really interesting. Should we go over there? Meanwhile, third player is literally running the opposite direction. Now we don't know. Does he know something?
Mm-hmm.
Does he know that's where you're supposed to go? Right? Is he a dick? Is he just I want to play on my own? Again, it's those kind of.
It reminds me. I used to play a lot of. So I did Dark Souls 3. I can't remember if I reviewed it or not, but I remember we played it at launch and and I played Dark Souls 3 all the way through. I think I finished Dark Souls 3 twice. And then I went back to it years later, and not that long ago. And I had those experiences where the only people that are still playing Dark Souls 3 are the people who are on like NG plus 20 something. Like they're on
right.
And these people, fair enough, you're going to get ganked by them in multiplayer. But generally speaking, you'd load into an area, you would do your thing and somebody would appear and they'd just sort of gesture. They'd have a fucking great sword. They'd be decked out in probably either the best armor or completely naked, no in between. And they would gesture you, and then I would just follow them around the level while they one-shotted everything.
So that's the thing.
And went, this is it, and they'd point. Oh, there's a thing there to get, and then they'd take me to another place. There's a thing to get. Then they'd get to a boss. They'd two-shot the boss, and then they'd be gone, and it would be like, thanks very much.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
So this is the thing. Like, I'm hesitant to sit here and say I recommend this game. And that's not because I don't think it's very good, because I actually think it's very good and really interesting, like a genuinely interesting take on that style of gameplay. Like I say, the fact that one of the bigger frames of reference is it's got a Fortnite Battle Royale ring in it. That's what it is. It draws you into an area. It does do that. The reason I say I hesitate to recommend it is because I get the feeling that, say, if I said to you, Mick, go buy this game, and you installed it and played it, you would play it and like it, but all that would be on your mind is you would be thinking, why is this multiplayer? Why can't I just explore this world? And so if they did patch in like a balance mode so that you could do it one player, or and they balanced 1 player, 2 player, and 3 players separately, I'd actually have no hesitation in saying it. But unless you can guarantee you're going to either be absolutely okay playing with randoms, which many people are, so that is not that's a me thing. I don't like playing with random people because I find it frustrating in a 3-player game if you all run in different directions, because what it feels like to me is, well, I have to follow someone. So where's my exploration part of it? Like where's the sort of the joy discovery for me?
You have to hope you get lucky if you're playing with randoms. There's times when I was playing like Destiny,
do what you described, where you just basically he knows what he's doing, or she knows what she's doing, so I'm just going to follow them around while they do everything. I'm still trying to learn how to play this recluse. Do you know what I mean?
The best time to play with randoms is when a game is fairly new, or when content for a game is fairly new. Like Destiny is a prime example.
Man. These games are new for like a week. Top.
Oh yeah, it's too late now.
Yeah, it's too late now, and it's not out yet by the time we record it.
Yeah. Because people will spend 18 hours a day and will completely know life games like this, because that's
it's a badge of honor in some ways, isn't it? But look, we'll move on to question of the week, and I'll just say, take what I've said with a pinch of salt, because I haven't played as much of it as Chris. Go read his review on lootlevelchill.com. There's a video review to go with it, and just bear in mind, if you can, either make peace with just playing with randoms and that being a thing, and you're used to that because you play that kind of game, it won't be an issue to you. And also, if you've got a group of people that are going to definitely play it regularly, no issue again.
Great.
And if you're watching this in the future and they've balance patched it, again, cool. But at the moment, it is a game that you need 3 people to play together and be on relatively the same page. And everything mechanically is great, and I love the streamlining. I like the neat Fortnite-iness of it. The roguelike stuff is very clever. But there are caveats. Sort of sticking on the... I mean, this is the genre is covered in this question of the week. Dale sends his question in, and just to remind you that the rest of the questions will be in the bonus pod, exclusive to Patreons. Dale says, what gaming terms or buzzwords pique your interest when hearing about a game for the first time? He says, for him, Metroidvania is something that always grabs his interest. Conversely, what makes you instantly less interested when hearing about a game? Souls-like is an immediate buzz killer for him personally. So it ties in rather neatly.
So,
is there a thing you hear and you're like, oh, I'm in, or I'm out? Or not so much I'm out, because we're never fully out until we played something, but you know what I mean?
So,
you sort of go,
My in is the same as his. Like, if I see Metroidvania, that'll at least get me to look at... That'll at least... So, there's a certain style... Like
Metroidvania or platformer for me, and I'll try something.
Yeah. I very much judge a game by its cover in a way. Like, I'll look at... Like, Pipistrello, for example. I look at Pipistrello and I don't want to play it because
that
of
is
the
a
visuals.
Metroidvania.
Yeah, but the visuals turned me right off. Same as Mini Shoot Adventure. I couldn't stand the look. Yeah, I couldn't stand the look of it. It's not the sort of thing I want to look at.
Two of arguably the best Metroidvanias in the last few years.
I can't look at them for hours on end. Okay. I can't. But Metroidvania will generally get me to at least watch the trailer, and I like when you see.
I feel like Lyle's going to explode. Like, if you didn't have headphones on, the steam would be going, the steam's pushing him off.
I like when you see, like, if you see 2D Metroidvania, and I like Souls like Metroidvania. I like that. That's what got me to look at Mandragora, which I love.
Do you not find you've graduated a bit now? Because I find I'm the same as you, and I know Lyle will salute this. But like, you see a trailer for a 2D Metroidvania, and you're like, I'm in, but I need to know how it feels.
I need to know how it feels, and I need to know how they've done the traversal and the unlocking of things, because there's Metroidvanias that are too straightforward. There's Metroidvanias that are too weird. Ultrot I found a bit too weird. On the counterpoint, if there's a phrase now that turns me off immediately, it's fucking boomer shooter. Do not tell me your game is a retro or 90s theme. If you tell me your game is a 90s themed boomer shooter, it's a fucking Doom clone in 2025.
You lived through them.
I lived through them. It's
not for you. It's for people who are like, ooh, I'm 19.
Most of them.
That's what 19-year-olds do. I think they walk around with again. Oh, I'm 19.
Yeah. So I tell you what, though, the thing about boomer shooters is, though, the reason it puts me off is because very few of them actually innovate on anything. And that's the truth. Okay. Very few of them actually bring anything new to the table and go. They'll go, we're a boomer shooter. We've got a crossbow that fires 3 arrows. I don't fucking care. Like, I give me something that feels different and new. Oh, you can strafe in this game? Brilliant. It feels like I'm 12 again. I don't want that shit. I don't mind a boomer shooter.
This game.
Do you know what I really liked? One of the boomer shooters that is an exception to the rule that I really liked recently was Bolt Gun. I mean, it's a Warhammer theme, which is always going to...
Yeah, that fucking helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does help. It's a Warhammer 40k. But it was such a fucking... Like, there was no bullshit to it. There was no, we want to be like this, or look at us.
I mean, there's Warhammer, so there's a bit of bullshit to it. Come on now, Mick.
There's the general background level of Warhammer bullshit, right? That goes with the territory, and I'm a Warhammer fan. I've come to accept that there is a background level of bullshit. But that... I really liked it. And Doom the Dark Ages is a boomer shooter. That's exactly what it is. It's allowed though because it's Doom.
It's a doomer shooter. Come on now. It was there. If you aren't going to take it, I'm doing it.
I can't stand when if I open an email and the first line is retro themed fucking. They don't always call them boomer shooters. There's another name for it, but basically it's a retro shooter. Although I thought Dead Zone Rogue was going to be that, and I've been pleasantly surprised by that because it's not pixelated for one, which fucking helps. But
Man just hates pixels, like smooth. What about you, Lyle?
I got enough pixels in the 90s when I was first gaming.
Yeah, I think the problem here isn't the term boomer shooter, it's that you hate old stuff.
I'm old and I hate old things.
It's your hateful old brain, unfortunately. Yeah, that's all it is. Fashion Police Squad, by the way, that's the boomer shooter you should all play, where you have to dress everyone.
I played that. I think I reviewed that on something. I reviewed a version of Fashion.
I think you did.
I did another version.
What's the one that was also a roguelike boom shooter? A roguelike boom shooter. It came out again this year, I think. You're like a 80s cyber cop future thing where you're going up floors.
Oh, you're thinking of Mullet Mad Jack?
Mullet Mad Jack. How do I forget a game like that? How do I
that
forget
was very
a name?
good.
Yeah, that was good. So there are good examples, but
there are good examples. But I won't. If I see it, I generally think ugh until I. Yeah. And often I'll play it because I'll watch a trailer or it's a developer I like and I'll give it a go. And generally speaking, I don't often dislike them. But it's just that sentence.
But that's what he says, to be fair. What's a phrase? He doesn't say what games do you hate. He says what is a phrase that makes you less interested. I mean, before we get to you, Lyle, is everyone sort of just on the Metroidvania is probably one of the. Yeah,
that's always a nice one. Yeah, that's up
is
there.
Is there another one?
Sure.
Because I would say platformer for me is
platformer
2D
as well. Is
platformer
super high. I'm more 3D platform. I think is where I'd go for those two. But yeah, those ones work. I'm someone who still likes roguelikes. Like when I see the word roguelike, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I can't do another fucking roguelike." But like
deck builder, roguelike deck builder.
You were going to say. So you've just named roguelike. That's his positive.
Yeah, I was literally saying deck builder next on my pros. Yeah, I love fucking building decks. That's great.
I hate deck builders.
So what would be your cons list then? What would be my cons?
There's only 3 letters.
All of my pro lists usually.
M and O.
Oh really? Just MMO?
I think
That's a really good answer.
I just like I am in the same way that when we were talking about Nightreign, it's this whole multiplayer thing. It's like I don't really do multiplayer that much, really. If I do, I'm already doing it in Fortnite. If I'm gonna do, and like MMO is just like it's multiplayer, but like also you'll have to play it for thousands of hours and stuff like that. Like
hero shooters. I'm not that because I just don't.
Do you just not like games now? Because you're like kind of going through every genre. Like there's.
I tell you what though, no, because RPG is one of the ones that I will get excited about, and RPG is the weirdest one to get excited about because that encompasses
every game.
No. Do you know what? Mick has actually given me the chance here to give mine, and one of them is a different one, turn-based RPG. If you put turn-based RPG in an email or a picture of a game, I'm like, I will watch that trailer because that was always like it's Final Fantasy VII for me, and turn-based disappeared. Like I don't even mind that I'm seeing articles that are like Claire Obscure. That's how you do turn-based because you've got the action. Do you know what? That's fine. You can have that in it as long as I get my turn. I love the tactical because turn-based became. What was it? Tactics games? That's what turn-based became. That was it. It was a tactics-based game.
See, that's another one. If I see turn-based tactics, I'll quite often think, so you mean XCOM clone is what you're telling me. But
XCOM base building, that's a really, really specific term. But like, if you put XCOM base building in it, I'm like, I'll play it.
This is why games are so cool though, because like I won't generally read. If someone take for example, like if someone says to me, "Do you want to read this book? It's a romance." I'll say, "No, that's not for me." I don't care I don't care what romance it is.
What if they say about if it's erotic? There is a difference.
I don't. I'll read certain pages.
Would you read an erotic book out of interest?
My wife's got a shelf full of erotic books. I've pinpointed all the sex bits in them. And then that's it. Yeah, I've written some.
I love the idea that you've written actual books, but you've also got like unpublished 100 novels that are under like Pick Mazer or something, and they're all just like erotic porn.
But seriously, like you take and films are often the same.
Fraser or something.
But films are often the same. Like I know by genre, I'm not probably going to watch that, and I've been surprised before. But generally with books, I'm not. Games can always still surprise me. So you could always.
I'll play a horror game, even though a horror game is not my bag.
I would say I don't want to play a boomer shooter. I'm sick of boomer shooters. And you put a certain one in front of me, and I go, "Fuck, this is actually really good." They always have the ability. So even when there are phrases and there are things that I'll read, and sometimes it's just because games hit those points where, like Survivor games, like at the moment, I'll see the word survivors in a title, and I'll go, another one? Because it seems like there are
You're
so
taking all my You're taking all
many.
my genres, man.
But there are so many
that's why
Survivor
that
games.
kills my buzz. Like I'll see a trailer, and my buzz killers are, unfortunately. And again, I want to be really clear because the question isn't what makes you hate games. No,
Yeah.
but roguelike is on my buzz killer list because, and the same reason. So Mick mentioned survivors or survival games. And I don't mean like
survivors
Resident Evil.
means
Not survival games. Survival games, I'll take.
Oh, so no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
survival
games.
games. Yeah, I'm talking about
Although
like vampire survivors, like.
I think I actually do agree with you because they fall into all these fall into the category for me of where you have games that you have played that are like the pinnacle. So you go for a Hades, let's say, roguelike.
Yeah.
Or
Hades like is now a thing. Every other
like is a
fucking
thing.
game is a Hades.
Hades and Dead Cells are like the two pinnacles of the sort of different styles of that genre. So when you see someone saying like Hades like or Dead Cells like or roguelike, you're like, this is going to have to be so good because I've played the best. So survival is similar to me. Like I like that genre, but it is so often early access.
Yeah.
And so often very early access that I'm like, I'll play this, but it's gonna be 3 years and it will probably be great. Survivors is the same for me as roguelikes. I've played Vampire Survivors. It is a phenomenal 10 out of 10 game. It is also a game I would be absolutely willing for someone to come along and make this one that blows your mind because you're like, wow, what a clever take on it. Mm-hmm. I haven't yet seen that. Like, do you know what I mean? Really... I don't even know what you do.
I mean, just as a note to all developers, right? I know,
Fucking hell.
They're not going to listen to this, but listen, right? Stop putting survivors in the fucking title of every survivor. You don't have to do that. That would be like if every first-person shooter had the word fucking Doom in the title, or every top-down RPG was something Diablo-ish. You don't have to do it. We know what type of game it is. Give us a title that doesn't... Like, there's so many. Deep Rock Galactic Survivors. Fucking Gallows Spire Survivors. Vampire Survivors did it because that's what it called itself. That was the name of it. It was the first. Then everyone just literally swapped the word vampire for another word, survivors. Stop it. It's fucking annoying.
Lyle, did we actually get your... I can't even remember if we got your negative buzzwords.
I said MMO, didn't I?
You did say MMO.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, a weird one is that I wouldn't say that Souls-like is on my negative necessarily, even though I don't usually like true Souls-likes. Like Dark Souls, I suppose.
What about if they call it Masocore? Because that to me is like a no. Sorry.
That just means that whoever wrote it is a bit of a prick.
Yes. Thank you.
Right. This is the end. I have to move this. We have to get to because with so many developers are like going.
If you use Masocore ironically, you're a cock.
Patreon.com/LukeLevelChill, please, for potential new backers. We are now going to do the exclusive question. This is a real... I'm not trying to oversell it. There's a question I cannot wait to hear the answers to, especially from Lyle. But you'll have to Patreon.com. No, it's a good one. It's about games. It's a nice question. It's just a really
about like
I hope it's about games. Otherwise, what are we doing?
No, it's a really good question, and it's like this one was like, I know my answer immediately. I wonder if others would be so easy. LukeLevelChill.com, Patreon.com/LukeLevelChill. Thank you to Lyle and Mick, and we will speak to you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye bye for now.